بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome dear students. This is Miss Leila Al-Jihani. Inshallah today we will continue. Inshallah today our last lesson for our unit 6. Today we will cover lesson 12 for meaning and function. Before we start, dear students, make sure you're sitting in a quiet place. Prepare your notebooks. You are comfortable in your seating, your pens ready, your notebooks ready, and let's start. Let's recall what we covered in our previous lesson. In our previous lesson, we covered the writing process, how to write, the process, the research, how to do research, how to write notes, you use the chart to write notes, and how to write a draft. After the draft, you ask someone to proofread your writing, and then you make the final writing with adjustments and everything, okay? And also, we talked about how to form an essay. We have an introduction, and we said it's 1 paragraph, 3 to 4 sentences, body, and the conclusion. Okay, and I asked you to write about the aims and assets of your city or neighborhood. Okay, I have this example. I have written this example for you. I wrote about Riyadh. You can write about your own city. It doesn't have to be a city. You can write about your own neighborhood. Okay, so here, let's read it together. Here, if you can see with me, here, this one, what do we call this paragraph? This first paragraph, what do we call it? Introduction. Excellent. And here, I have my body. This is the body. My body contains 2 paragraphs. This is the first one, and this is the second paragraph. And at the end, I have my conclusion. Okay? I try to make it short, and we will read it together. I live in a great city in a wonderful country. Riyadh is a city with a lot of assets, and it also a lot of things we can aim toward. What do you think my writing will be about? My writing is about Riyadh. How did you know? Where is the main idea? I said I live in a great city in a wonderful country. Is this my main idea? No. Where is the main idea? The main idea, usually we write it in the introduction. صح? طيب, where is the main idea? Excellent. Riyadh is a city with a lot of assets and also a lot of things we can aim toward. This is my main idea. Okay? And then I have 2 paragraphs. Every paragraph, I divide it into 2 parts. Each one of them talks about something. How do we know? I write a topic sentence for every writing. Okay, for every paragraph, I write a topic sentence. Do you remember when we talked about topic sentence before? Okay, طيب. Let's continue reading here. Riyadh has been through a lot of developments in many fields in the last few years. When you read the first sentence, this one, you know that I'm writing about the things we have now. صح? Our assets, the things we have in Riyadh, okay? And if you look at the second paragraph, in Riyadh city, the government and the citizens work together to achieve its goals. So in this paragraph, I'm talking about our goals, the things we will do, inshallah, in the future. So I divided my writing into 2 paragraphs. 1 paragraph talks about the assets, and the other one talks about the aims. Okay? طيب. Let's continue reading the first paragraph. So this is my topic sentence for the first paragraph. The city is rich in culture and traditions, yet improved and developed, making it a leading destination for tourists. The government provides variety of public services such as health, education, transportation, and tourism. So I supported my main idea. I said that Riyadh is a great city. And I gave 2 examples. I supported my idea, my main idea. طيب, for the goals, the second paragraph, which will talk about the things we will do, inshallah, in the future, one of the most fundamental goals is to provide better job opportunities for the Saudi citizens. The government also aims to apply new projects to support the public services needed in this city. So I supported also my topic sentence with 2 more details to support my topic sentence, and at the end I just summarized the whole thing. I reordered the introduction as a conclusion. In conclusion, Riyadh is considered a city with many assets. The government with its people work together to achieve its aims. Okay, so I just summarized the whole thing that we talked about aims, and I talked about aims and assets. Okay, now let's move on to our lesson today. Inshallah, by the end of our lesson, you will be able to use the definite article the. Before, we talked about 2 articles, the indefinite a and an. Do you remember a and an? Today we will focus only on the. خلاص? Correctly in a context, you will write meaningful statements using the definite article the. Okay? This is what we are focusing in our lesson today. Okay? Previously in our lesson, I told you to do 2 homeworks, page 128 and the writing. The writing we just went over together, and we talked about it. I showed you an example. Okay? And for the homework, page 128, we have exercise J. Think about where you live and where a friend or a relative lives. Okay, so he wanted to think about 2 places. A place where you live and another place with one of your relatives or a friend lives in. خلاص? And then somewhere different. Maybe even another country, even if your friend or a relative in another country. What does he want you to do? You have a table, a chart in front of you. Complete the chart with adjectives that describe the town or place where you live and where your friend or relative lives. طيب, he wants you to compare the 2 places. خلاص, one place is your friend living in, and the other place where you live. خلاص, and then use adjectives to compare between the 2 places. خلاص. This is the table you have in front of you. I'm sure you did it. طيب, here you will write adjectives about your city or your town, and here you can write where my brother lives, where my friend lives, where my cousin, where my nephew, etc. Okay? And then you write the adjectives. Let's see it together. This is just an example. You can write more, you can write less. So where I live in a big city. Where my brother lives, I chose a brother. He lives in a small town. Where I live, it's noisy. Here in his place, it's quiet. I compare between the things. I live in a busy city. Here the people are friendly. Okay? So you can write more adjectives and give more examples. And then what does he want you to transfer the chart, the table, into writing? Change it into writing. You will write a paragraph. خلاص? Comparing where you live and where your friend or relative lives. Now write a paragraph about where you live and where your friend or relative lives. Compare the 2 places. We can use the table from the previous exercise. Use the information from the chart above. خلاص? Here and there. Okay? This is just a sample. I'm sure you have more other information, wonderful sentences you written. I live in a quiet village. So this is what the writing is, the example. The weather is warm and sunny most of the year. The village is small and the people are friendly. I know all my neighbors and most of my relatives live in the village. My friend Jamal lives in a large city. He loves it, but the city is busier and noisier than my village. So I use the superlative. Do you remember our grammar? Yes? So we use the superlative and comparative. It's also more expensive to live in Jamal's apartment in the city. And the worst part is that the weather is always cloudier and colder than in my village by the sea. Okay, so I wrote statements. I used adjectives. I used the comparative and superlative to compare between the two places. Okay, this is regarding our homework for our lesson. If you can open page 67. This paragraph, you can't find it in your book. This is just to introduce the article the, to see how we use the in a paragraph in a written statements. Let's read it. I recently discovered that money, here money, it's what do we call it? Is it a verb? لا, it's a noun. So I highlighted the nouns in blue. خلاص? And I underlined the articles. خلاص? So I recently discovered that money doesn't buy as much as it used to. I'd been living in a student house. Why did we use a here? Do you remember? Here we have a student house. I used a before it. Why I didn't use the? Why I didn't use an? Why a? Do you know? Yes, a, we use it when we didn't introduce the topic before. When it's a new topic, it's a general topic, we use a or an. We used a here because the word after it starts with the consonant. That's why we used a. For 2 years and hadn't had to buy my own food for the whole time. Okay? That here we used. Why? We will see it one by one, inshallah, today. We will just pause the video, read it, try to understand why did we use the. Here we said money. صح? طب here, why did we have money? The same noun. Why did we use that here? Because we already introduced money before. It's a repetition, so we say that. Here we have these words: juice, meat, bread, butter. We didn't put anything before it, صح? طيب here, why did we say the butter, the juice, the bread? Why? Why did we add the? Okay? Think about these statements. Inshallah, we will go over it again at the end of our lesson. Okay? So the definite article the comes before singular and plural nouns. Okay? We can use it either with singular or plural nouns. Okay? It doesn't have to be singular to add it in. Not like a and an. A and an, we only use it with the singular, صح? But the, it comes before the plural and the singular, okay? So we have the plus the nouns. We can use it with the singular, plural, countable, and uncountable nouns. It doesn't matter, okay? But what is the rule, ya miss? Here we have examples. With the singular, we have these examples. The car, the school, the house, and with the plural, the cars, the schools, the houses. We can use it with both, singular and plural. But what is the rule? When do we use definite article the? We have many situations. The first one, we use the for specific objects or people that were introduced before, that are known. يعني, do you remember our before we said money without the, and then we said the money? If you introduce the topic before, you can use the. Okay? For example, he is a tourist. Here I didn't use that because I didn't talk about tourist before. But when I talk about it again, I say the tourist is in Jeddah. Do you see how it changed? How did we use here? We didn't use that, and here we used it. Here we used that because we already introduced the topic before. خلاص? Students read books. Books, it's general. We said books in general. صح? طيب here, the books are in English because I already introduced book in the first sentence. The second sentence, I use the because I'm talking about the same books I'm talking about in the previous sentence. Okay? So this is the first rule we have. Okay? Do not use the with plural or uncount nouns when talking in general. When we are talking about a general topic, we don't use the. Okay? Like, for example, we have these example. Technology is used in classrooms. This is general. I'm talking about all types of technology. صح? I'm talking about classrooms, all classrooms. Do I talk about a specific type of technology? A specific kind of classroom? لا, I'm talking in general. Okay? طيب, if you introduce the topic again in the second sentences, you can add that. But if you're talking in general now, you don't use that. Let's read the second sentence. What are the official languages of Canada? Here, I'm talking about a specific language. I'm talking about the official language. Is it an official language anywhere? لا. On Canada. I'm being specific. I'm not talking about all languages. The official languages in this city, in this country. Okay, so I'm being specific, not general. That's why here I use that. So when you're talking in general, you don't use that. When you're being specific about something specific, you use that. Let's see the other example here. Students read books. Students read books. This is very general. The second sentence, the books we have are in English. So I'm talking about specific books we have it. I didn't say the books are in English. لا. I'm talking about specific ones. The books we have. Something specific. That's why I used that. Okay? Water is essential to life. In general, water is very important to life. Water is essential to life. خلاص? When I'm being specific here, don't drink the water. I'm talking about specific water. Right? We have it in front of us. Don't drink the water. It's polluted. I'm being specific. Is it? I'm talking about all the water around the earth? لا. I'm talking about specific in front of us. That's why we use the in it. خلاص? What is the third rule? These rules, you can find it in your books, but I divide it into slides. You can follow with me. You can see the examples. I provided more examples. You can follow with me on your book, page 67. When do we use the definite article also? We use the with the superlative. Do you remember our grammar, the superlative and comparative? The superlative, when we compare between three things and more, we use the superlative. When we use the superlative, we use the. خلاص? Look at the example. Planes are the fastest. So this is the superlative. We use the before it. Means of transportation. It is the oldest building in the town. So oldest is a superlative. We use the before it. Plane tickets are the most expensive. Okay? Let's see the other rule here we have. We use the for objects that are one of a kind. If you are talking about something unique, something one of a kind, you say the. زي إيش يا مس؟ يعني مثلا if you're talking about the sun, you say the sun. Okay? These are the examples. The earth, it's one of the kind. Do we have other earths? لا, it's only one planet, صح? So we say the earth, the sun, the moon, خلاص? The stars, the sky, the sea. When we are talking about something one of a kind, we use the before it, okay? Also, we use the with the names of oceans, seas, rivers, mountain ranges, deserts, groups of states, and monuments. يعني إيش? If you're saying, you don't say Red Sea, you say the Red Sea. If you're talking about names of oceans, names of seas, you use the before it. Let's see the examples. The Red Sea, the National Museum, the United States, the Amazon, the Arabian Desert, the Pacific Ocean, the Eiffel Tower, the Alps, okay? If you're talking about oceans, seas, mountain ranges, deserts, you use the before these names. خلاص? Also, we do not use, this is here, we will start to referring when we do not use the. خلاص? In these situations, we don't use the. We don't put the before what? Proper names. What do we mean about proper names? Like Layla. Layla is a proper name. Okay, so we don't say the Layla. لا, it doesn't sound right even if you say it. Noura, Ahmed, Ali, these are proper nouns. So before proper names, you don't say, you don't use the. Fahad is my brother. You don't say the Fahad. لا. Maha is studying right now. Muhammad plays football every day. He is in Dubai on business. So Dubai is a proper name, okay? Also, we don't use the with what else? With possessive adjectives. Do you remember the possessive adjective? We talked about it in our first semester. We covered the possessive adjectives. With the possessive adjectives, we don't use that. You say, Fahad is my brother. He is my brother. You don't say, Fahad is my brother. لا, it doesn't sound right. صح? Is your mother Fatma? This is a question. Also here we can use, we have the possessive. We don't use that. I saw my friend yesterday. So with the possessive, we do not add that. Another situation is, we don't use the with what? Months and days of the week. If you say, you don't say the Monday, the Tuesday, the January, لا. Okay, you don't use it. We don't use the with months and days. For example, Fahad is coming next Wednesday. Are you going to the party on Saturday? Our assignment is due on January. We don't use the. Another situation is, we don't use the with meals. If you're talking about breakfast, lunch and dinner, if you're talking about games, if you're talking about sports, we don't use the. Okay? Let's play tennis after lunch. I have a meal here and I have a type of sport. Okay? Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Yesterday, my friends and I played hide and seek. It's a game. Muhammad plays football every day. So with sports, meals, and games, we don't use the. صح? So what else we don't use the with? The words, these words. Home, school, work, business, and vacation. We don't use the with it, okay? He is in Dubai on business, okay? You don't say on the business. We go to school by bus. You don't say we go to the school by bus, okay? Let's go back to the first paragraph we saw together. Do you remember it? We read it before. Here we have money. We didn't add anything before it because here we're talking in general. We didn't introduce the topic before. That's why we use money. Here as a student house, this is a new topic. We added a before it, okay? The whole time. So because here we talked about the duration and time, that's why we used the here. Then I moved to an apartment. We used an because apartments start with an A. We didn't introduce apartment before, that's why we used an. Here we have friend Ahmed with my friend Ahmed. Here we didn't use the. Can you tell me one of the rules why we didn't use the here? Excellent. Here we have a possessive, my. With the possessives, we don't use The. Here also we have the word food and juice, meat, bread, butter. Okay, here I'm talking in general. I didn't introduce the topic before, that's why I didn't use the. Here, I went to the grocery store. I'm talking about specific store, specific type of store, and they put everything into a cart. Here, I didn't talk about the cart before, that's why I used a. When I went to buy, I found that the juice, the butter, the bread, the, because all of these, I talked about it before. I introduced it before. You can read it in the previous sentences. That's why now I use the before it. Okay? Okay, let's look at this exercise. Write the definite article in article the where necessary. Okay? So here we have when sun. Before sun, what do we do? Do we write the goes down at? You can see what and stars. Can you read the statements? Think about it. Think where can we put it? Where can we put the and when can we omit the? So we said sun is a unique statement. Do we add the? Yes. So here we have to write, we have to write the. صح? The sun goes down at the night. Can I say the night? لا. Here I don't write anything. You can see the moon and the stars. So here you write the, and here you write the also. Okay? This is for the first one. Okay? The first one. We write the here, and the only place we don't write the in is here. We don't write anything. What about number 2? Burj Khalifa in Dubai is tallest building in world. Burj Khalifa. Do we write the before it? Yes. So we say the before it. It's a unique place. In Dubai. Dubai is a proper noun. So do we say in the Dubai? لا. Okay. Here tallest. This is a superlative. Do we write the? Yes, we write the tallest building in the world. Okay? So think about the other statements. Where do we write the and where do we omit the? This is for number 2. Number 3, where do we write the? Think about it. Excellent. We write the in the Great Pyramids. Before Giza, we don't write anything. One of the 7th wonders of the ancient world. This is for number 3. For number 4, where do we write? Do we write it in the first statement? No. Al-Kufa script, the Kufa script, to write the first copies of the Holy Quran. Where do we write the? Excellent. We only write it here, the first copies of the Holy Quran. Okay? Number 5, last year. Do I say the last year we went? No, I say last year we went on vacation or on the vacation. On vacation to the island of Benin in Malaysia. Okay? This is how we write it. We only write the here before the islands. Okay? For exercise B, he wants you to write either article a or an or the. Depend on the sentence. Do you remember a and an? We use it with the singular countable. A, we use it before consonants, and an, we use it with the noun that starts with the vowel. A, E, I, O, and U. Okay? This is how we use it. This is the last exercise. Let's do it together. Okay? Pause the video, think about it. Where do we add the and where do we omit the? And let's see the answers together. Okay? Number 1, the bullet train travels a speed of 300 kilometers an hour, etc. Here we added an, a, the, and a, shorter time. Number 2, here we didn't write anything, and here we write the, here we left it plain. Look at the statements here, compare it with your answers and see where you made the mistakes. Think about why did you write the, why did you write an in the statements, okay? What did we cover in our lesson today? We covered the definite article the, and when do we use the definite article the, okay? That's it for today. Thank you for listening, and inshallah I will see you next class.